Alright, hello and welcome back to Kitastic Games. Today we're going to be playing a new game and I wanted to give it a little bit of an introduction before we hop into it. This won't take more than a minute, so don't worry. But as I was playing A Date with Death, I sent a link to the very first episode to my friend because she really likes white-haired anime boys, and I thought she'd be into that sort of thing. She ended up asking me if I had ever heard of a game called Touchstarved, that she really liked the art. She was really interested in it, and she was excited for it to come out. And I was like, no, I've never heard of this game before. She said that there was a demo for it, so today we're going to be trying the demo of Touchstarved. I don't really know anything about it besides that she's interested in it. From what I understand, it's sort of a horror-based dating sim sort of game. But this is as new to me as it is to you, so let's see what it's about and see if I enjoy it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit new game. Yes, this is a demo. Yes. Touchstarved is intended for an older audience. It contains mature content that it includes but is not limited to horror, graphic violence, strong language, alcohol and drug references, injury, and dismemberment. Player discretion and viewer discretion is advised. Yes. Your choices matter. The decisions you make may result in unique dialogue, interactions, or even choices in red text, which can claim exclusive content. Try playing through the demo more than once. Interesting. You might even uncover a secret ending. There are no wrong choices, only interesting ones. That's terrifying. Choose wisely and save often. Okay. Press rewind. Interesting. A rewind. Spacebar to hide the UI. Okay. Choose my name. Oh boy. Choose your pronouns. That. This world began to unravel long before you were born. It began with a fogfall. Spectral mist bled from the seams where reality wore so thin it split. And from that fog emerged monsters, inhuman beings with unnatural powers. Some possessed language and intellect, others were mindless beasts driven by little more than the desire to slaughter. As cities fell and unrest spread, humans united in their fear while monsters thrived in the chaos. And then there's you. Okay. You're not even sure if you're a human. You were born cursed, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Choose your backstory. Okay. Okay, so basically what we're saying here is we have 3 origins that we can choose from. The unnamed is a, I guess, religion-based origin. It says you regularly experience unnatural premonitions that rattle your body and soul. An innate sixth sense give you a heightened awareness of hidden supernatural presences around you. The Hound is a thief, a criminal. You can survive and even thrive in the violent underbelly of any city using your experience with the underworld to get ahead. And then the Alchemist is more of a mage option where you are an experienced spellcaster with knowledge of magic. Each of these sounds really interesting, and I don't know the way that this story is going to go well enough to feel like there's one better than the other, but I feel like because Thief is such a basic background, that just seems like the way that I want to go. There's always good in being a thief. So let's try that. We could always play this again and try a different background later, but okay. Your name is Kip. Yes, you selected they them pronouns. Your backstory is the Hound. Is this correct? Yes. This is a little terrifying. The wasteland stretches as far as the eye can see. There's nothing out here but death, the ever-present stench of decay, and countless sun-bleached bones cast like seeds across the barren land. I could say death doesn't scare me, but to tell the truth, I'm desperate. It's been 2 weeks since I joined a caravan bound to the wastes. Finding a group that would accept me was a trial in itself. As rations grew sparse and my canteen ran dry, I began to despair. But then I saw it. The city? That's a big city. Eridia, the city of knowledge. One of the last bastions of humanity left in the world and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my curse, it's there. All that stands between me and a cure is a final stretch of salt-soaked wastes. Or so I think until I see the first tendrils of of fog snaking beneath the wagon. Okay, a little scary. Is this fogfall? My stomach sinks at the very whisper of it. A silent storm more devastating than fire. Dangerous in cities, but a death sentence beyond them. A thick blanket of fog engulfs us, smothering out the lantern's light. The wagon lurches to a stop. An eerie silence heavy as the mist falls over us. The only warning we get is a strangled scream. Oh no. Stay back! No! The cry dissolves into wet gurgling. Okay, so somebody died. Then the wagon violently pitches to the side. I hit the ground hard, the air punched from my lungs. When I open my eyes, adrenaline lends sudden, awful clarity to the carnage around me. I could have read that better, but okay. A trader I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud, their back reduced to long strings of torn muscle, gleaming gristle, and exposed bone. Bodies litter the wasteland. Okay. I was gonna say, so this thing has claws, but here it is, I guess. I try to rise, but my ankle explodes with pain so blinding, white blooms across my vision. Only when my eyes adjust do I see the dark shape in front of me. Oh. Oh no. The soulless stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. I freeze, but it swivels its head, a dozen bulging eyes twitch in my direction and blink as one. I dislike that immensely. The soulless lets out an ear-splitting shriek and runs at me. I hope there aren't quick-time events. Right before it reaches me, the beast barrels, vanishing into the mist. A horse screams in the dark. I need to move now. Well, the wagon hasn't been destroyed, so let's go for the city. I take off, running deeper into the haze. The fog is so thick that I fear I'm headed in the wrong direction until I see a dim pinprick of light emanating from the shadow of a spire. It's faint, but it's enough. I came too far to die here. Rapid footsteps echo all around me. I turn in circles, frantically searching the opaque mist for the source. But the fogfall twists and stretches sound. Suddenly, the caravan's driver bursts forth from the fog. Our eyes meet too late. He slams into me, knocking me into the ground, and slips in a patch of mud. The soulless falls on him as soon as he slows. It catches the driver by his throat and rakes his stomach with razor-sharp claws. He comes apart like wet paper, spilling intestines and viscera in a steaming tide. Fighting the urge to heave, I claw frantically through the slippery muck for a handhold. Oh, shit. Really? My hand catches on the jagged edge of a rib jutting up from the water. My bandages unfurl around the gouge torn deep into my palm. Okay, I've heard a little bit about the bandages and the hand thing just by perusing this Steam page. But I don't 100% know what it means for, the context of this game. The pain's quickly forgotten when a hand closes around my wrist. Unfortunate, but okay. Hi. Can you stand? Hope so. One of the travelers from the caravan leans over me. We need to run. They reach for my hand, and I realize too late that my bandages have come undone. Yeah, really. What's going on there? No, don't touch me. The sensation of their thumb brushing the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch, and in the space of a breath, my curse takes hold. Their lips peel back into a deranged grin. I'm not even gonna try to laugh. No, I've seen this face countless times before. This is my curse. Madness of my own making. Okay. The grip on my hand tightens until pain radiates from my knuckles. Let me go. Suddenly, clammy hands crush my throat, choking off my breath. That's a lot of dye. Spit bubbles at the corners of their mouth and flecks my face. Gross. The edges of my vision darken as my lungs scream for air. Bite them off. My nails gouge deep into the traveler's wrist, but no matter how much blood I draw, they don't flinch. Okay. Pain is not an option. The more I struggle, the tighter their grip grows. My pulse hammers in my ears, slowing with each thudding beat. This can't be happening. I'm going to die. And not because of the fogged fall or the soulless, but because of my own curse. Tears sting my eyes. No, no, no. Not here. Not like this. The hands drop from my neck, leaving me wheezing for air. My lungs burn with each ragged cough. My vision clears and the traveler's face takes shape, hovering inches from mine. Lips still split in that macabre smile. Is it macabre? I don't know. Even as blood seeps between their teeth. They give one last shuddering breath, then slump over the claws hooked through their stomach. The soulless? The soulless shoves the body aside, and the glowing eyes, studding its leathery skin thin as though grinning. I can read. Okay, well, I thought maybe we could be friends. There's a flash of claws, red spill across my vision. I thought there'd be pain, but as I sink into the murky water, all I can feel is the grit of silt filling my mouth and the icy embrace of shallow water. This is how I die. Distantly, I notice an arm resting among the outcrop of reeds. Mine, neatly severed at the elbow. It should have taken both arms. Without them, maybe I could have survived. Maybe I could have had a home. Instead, I'll die cold, alone, and face down in a desolate wasteland. A fitting end for a monstrosity like me. Did I fuck up? I don't think so. I was assuming that entire time that it was just like the opening and there was nothing really wrong that I could do, but... questions. If this is death, it's not as bad as I feared. The cold is gone, as is the choking stench of bog water. Maybe it was all a dream. I could drift forever, cocooned in oblivion, until all thought and sensation vanished. No curse, nobody howling at me in madness and terror. Nothing at all. The thought has a terrible appeal to it. But the next moment, I take a reflexive breath. Air pours into my lungs, then out again in a ragged gasp. Not making that sound. Feeling comes flooding back. Warm cloth on my bare skin, a firm surface underneath me, a strange tang of sulfur in the air. Do not be afraid. I twist my head towards the voice. Tears flood my bleary vision at the bright glow of lamplight. Try not to move, if you say so. The voice is calm, steady, and commanding. But more importantly, it's a stranger's voice. One thought cuts through my mental fog. I have no idea who this is, and I'm completely at their mercy. Stay away from me. My words come out in a little more than a creaky whisper. I clamp my mouth shut, hating how weak and helpless I sound. No. Okay, good talk. No? Who the hell is this? I mean, listen, if somebody tells me to just lay down. I let myself slump back against the thin pillow, wincing when the motion jolts my head. Ah, a cooperative patient. Thank you. The words swim in one ear and out the other, without much comprehension. I pull the sheet up higher, wiping my eyes until my vision clears. The stranger towers over my prone form. Warm light reflects off his pristine medical coat. I didn't know he had such long hair. I've seen glimpses of all the characters in this. And I knew this one was some sort of like medical doctor or something. I feel safe with this man. I instinctively shrink back, and that's when I notice that I'm completely naked except for a thin linen sheet. I feel considerably less safe with this man. Naked, lying on a low cot, with a pair of sharp golden eyes watching my every move. The man's gaze flickers to my exposed, unbandaged hands. But I have both of them. I plunge my hands under the sheet to hide them from sight, though it's too late. He must have noticed what they look like. Strange. Just inhuman. I brace myself for his inevitable suspicion and disgust, but his expression doesn't even flicker from that courteous smile. He just watches in placid silence as I struggle to make sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Who are you? Be calm. You are safe here. Whoever this is, he clearly has no idea who or what I am. I've never been safe anywhere with anyone. The only people I have ever trusted betrayed me for a fat purse of coin. I scowl, pulling the sheet protectively around myself. Where are my clothes? The man's golden eyes narrow slightly. Do you not want me to have clothing? A sharp sigh rustles the papers in his hands. I see you are not to be dissuaded. I enjoy clothes. Your clothes were torn to shreds when I found you, but I procured replacements. Thank you. With a soft creak, he stands from his chair, giving me a better view of my surroundings. I seem to be in some sort of medical clinic. Bottles of silvery alchemical concoctions line the counters in neat rows. The air makes my nose twitch, a faint whiff of smoke, and something distinctly metallic that I can't quite place. The doctor produces a large, dense bundle of cloth, which he sets at the foot of my cot. He's easily a head taller than most, and I have to crane my neck to look at him. Thanks. I should be polite if I can, especially since I don't know who this is, what he can do, or what he wants with me. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, I'm gonna leave you to get dressed. Thank you. With a curt nod, he leaves through a narrow door. I hear a soft click as the lock turns behind him. He locked me in here? I count to 3 in the sudden silence. When I don't hear any more footsteps, I reach for the bundle of clothes. An itch on my elbow stops me short. I reach down absently to rub at it, then freeze when my fingers meet a neat line. He put my arm back on. I know what I saw. That beast took my arm clean off. And yet my arm shows no sign of injury apart from the black stitches poking through my skin. I gingerly flex my fingers, feeling my heart race at the sensation. This is impossible. I should be dead, or at the very least gasping out my last breaths. I squeeze my eyes shut, waiting for the pleasant dream to unravel, to wake up bleeding out in the swamp. But nothing happens. The seconds tick by, and my arm remains resolutely healed, my surroundings pristine and quiet. In numb disbelief, I reach for the replacement clothes and begin stiffly pulling them on. They're thicker and warmer than mine are, with a black woolen cloak to go with them. There's one thing missing: my bandages. The golden-eyed man didn't leave me with any, even though I know he saw my hands. I slide off the bed and take a few unsteady steps. How did you put your clothes on if you were laying on a bed? If this is indeed a doctor's clinic, there must be bandages somewhere. I start opening drawers at random, and of course, that's when the door swings open once more. Are you looking for something? I whirl around, clutching a thick roll of clean bandages. I try to step back from him, but my legs bump up against the edge of the cot. Your caution is understandable, though if I meant you any harm, you would know. That doesn't make me feel any better in the slightest, but he makes no move towards me, so I quickly wind the bandages around my hands. The glowing scars and mottled skin disappear under a layer of clean, white cotton. May I ask why you need additional bandages? I clench my jaw. I knew it would be only a matter of time before he asked about my hands, though the way he does it is strangely roundabout. I'll say nothing, I guess. There's no answer I could give without raising unwelcome suspicion, so I just shake my head and finish tying the bandages in silence. I can only help if you tell me what ails you. An involuntary snort of laughter escapes me. Where would I even begin? Would he even believe me if I told him? No, best to keep my curse to myself for now, and learn more about him first. Who are you? You may call me Kurus. And where exactly am I? Eridia, which I assume was your caravan's destination. I can think of nowhere else for a group of travelers to go. Eridia. So I made it to the City of Knowledge after all. I should feel relieved, but all I can manage is a vague sense of increasing unease. How did I end up here? I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment. Which you provided? Yes. He says it so simply, as if I'm a small child and he's explaining basic addition to me. I frown and flex the fingers on my recently healed arm. Aside from being a bit stiff, it feels fine. Thoroughly attached to me. You're saying that you stitched my arm back on. Pardon? A soulless attacked the caravan. It ripped everyone to shreds. It tore my arm clean off. But when I woke up here, I trail off, bewildered. Never heard of any magic that could heal a mortal wound like that. What kind of person could do such a thing? The doctor, Kurus, pinches the bridge of his nose. He sits back down in his chair, quiet for a long time. I do not know where you come from, but Eridia is the city of knowledge and deadly secrets alike. Information is power, and it's most unwise to give or receive it freely. Since you have refused to divulge your secrets, I will not divulge mine. Divulge them. I do not even know your name. You are new to Eridia, so I will overlook this specific breach of etiquette. However, you should not expect others to extend the same courtesy. Do you understand? He looks pointedly at my freshly bandaged hands. Loath as I am to admit it, he has a point. I'm also a complete stranger to him, and if he's telling the truth, he saved my life. I take a deep, steadying breath. This time, when I speak, I sound a bit more like myself. Kit. My name is Kit. It's a pleasure to meet you, Kit. There's a little more warmth in his smile, his polite demeanor back in an instant. Thank you for saving me. The chances smile in return. Even if he won't explain how he did the impossible, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd be dead if not for Kurus. Think nothing of it. I'm not sure if he's just being excessively courteous or no, but his words only raise more urgent questions. But I have to ask, why did you save me? You don't even know me. The question seems to startle Kurus. I could hardly leave you to die in the wastes. Assisting those in need is the very essence of a doctor's duty. I've never met a doctor who also handed out free clothes. My fingers find the edge of the cloak. There's a subtle but delicately embroidered pattern. Oh, it's a fancy cloak. I try not to think about what kind of what kind of price Kurus might ask for such well-made clothes. No, I suppose not. Forgive my presumption, I rarely come across so fascinating a patient. I blink. What did he just say? I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely, or brave such a perilous journey to Eridia. I could not help but be curious about you. His voice dips to a soft murmur, and he abruptly looks away from me. You're pretty curious yourself. am I? Well, I haven't forgotten about my arm. I wiggle my intact fingers at him. Clearly not. But you haven't asked me for any payment either. I require none from you. Travelers do not have an abundance of coin, and it would be unethical to leave you destitute in a strange place. All silent, unsure of what to say to that. Nobody would help a whore like me for free. There has to be some kind of catch or trick. A loud knock at the front door stops our conversation cold. Spares me from having to say anything else. Duty calls. Unfortunately, you are not my only patient today. The knocking grows more insistent, and Curtis lets out a sigh. That's a tired sigh if I've ever heard one. Please wait your turn. Though he says it quietly, the clamor on the other side of the door abruptly stops. Do you need anything before you leave, Kit? Oh. Between the soulless attack and my miraculous survival, I'd almost forgotten why I came to Eridia in the first place. I need directions to the cenobium. The cenobium? The look on his face is downright chilling, oh no. He pauses, choosing his words with cold deliberation when he speaks again. Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely that you will find it there. The cenobium's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. My heart sinks. Is he saying that I came all this way for nothing? Risked life and limb, literally, for nothing? No, that can't be. I've only just arrived and Eridia is the largest city in standing. We're still standing. There has to be a cure for me here. Then if not the cenobium, where would you suggest? Do you know anyone else in Eridia? Yeah, well, there's this doctor guy named Curtis. Shake my head. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wet Wick and ask for Leander. Excuse me, the wet what? The Wet Wick. He sounds deeply unamused. Follow the postings advertising Leander's bloodhounds. They are difficult to miss. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. That isn't much to go on, but Curtis points towards the clinic's back door. You will be safe so long as you do not draw attention to yourself, okay? That's easier said than done. I've always been a magnet for the worst sort of attention. If you require my assistance, you may return whenever you wish. Thanks. Though he's smiling, there's a note of finality to his voice. Resigned to my dismissal, I slip out the back door. I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. Not an ally. I pull the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the contents of chamber pots that have been emptied into the street. Something weighs heavily inside. Oh, my coin purse. Everything is still inside, every last coin that I'd scraped together for the journey to Eridia. It doesn't even look like it was opened. There were so few coins to begin with, they probably weren't worth stealing. I glanced back at the clinic's closed door. Curtis didn't take any payment. He didn't even ask for a future favor. But he also said that in Eridia, secrets are power. Does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly a comforting thought. Still, no matter why he did it, Curtis gave me a second chance and a lead on where I might find help. I better get going before he changes his mind. I squeeze out of the alley and into the crowded main street. The line outside Curtis's clinic stretches down the road already. Two thin peddlers queue alongside weathered elders. Many places in desperate need of a free clinic. It's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough under my feet, deep grooves worn between them by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Eridia was a river city, but I didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated, all crammed together in narrow streets. A child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over to me. My stomach gives a faint gurgle. This morning's catch. Fried up, hot and fresh. Not too many eyeballs today. On your wares or in your wares? That sounds disgusting, but I'm starving, so I tuck my head under the stall's grubby awning. A large fish leers up at me, its 3 bulging eyes still visible through the thick layer of crisp— oh, ew, you crisped it up with its eyeballs still in it. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you got? The vendor points at a metal basket of what looks like long strips of savory fried dough. That sounds nice. Ooh, fresh long lads. What are long lads? 3 coppers apiece. Don't burn your mouth. I take the coins out, counting them gingerly. It's just 3. At this rate, I might not even be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. A long lad. 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying riot of color, painted walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways. Musical voices call out invitingly. Incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Eridia's entertainment district. I was thinking the same thing. I'm polishing off my long boys and dusting the crumbs from my hand— or what was it, long lad? I don't know. I've already forgotten. When I spot a poster. A poster I need to see. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto, as above, so below, circles the artwork. Okay. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around the corner and nearly hit my head on the precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, the faded orange letters read, "The Wet Wick." The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. Okay. There's a lot you can tell about a city by its dives. This one seems ordinary enough, even if the uniforms are unusual. A cursory glance doesn't turn up anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show! 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 The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and their booths to rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught, swept along in the ale-stenched current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as the press of bodies grows heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself. The crowd has stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Chest. Seriously, you dogs? Again? Scattered laughter and cheers rise from the audience. I drag my eyes upwards. A well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. There are some words in this that I've only ever read and never said out loud. This really is the last time, alright? This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent, as though bewitched by his magnetic presence, or rich, low voice. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. Damn. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink, or you'll miss it. He laughs, and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I've found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience, and snaps. A flash of pale green light, Real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the magic towering above me. He flicks his wrist, and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers. The audience bursts into clapping and cheers. A genuine magic show was the last thing I expected from a place called the Wet Wick. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet from out of the air and turns in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. I like this. Now who could use some good luck? Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach out for the lilies, while others whistle and call Leander's name. But his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking on me instead. I felt it coming. How about you? No thanks. My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. No. My voice comes out weaker than I'd like. Someone else might appreciate them more. Leander's smile widens as though he didn't hear me at all. You seem like you could use something to brighten up your day. Back. But as he speaks, the lilies fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me. I find myself smiling back. Leander steps off of the table, dropping among the excited crowd with an audible clink. Alright, bloodhounds, get back to your drinks. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Don't look at me. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded counter. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulder presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Eridia? He says it lightly, with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get you? Surprise me, and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I'm gonna rack up that tab so much. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. Have water. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbows on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. His eyes wander over me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here come the questions. So, what brings you to the Wick? Burris sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls right back into place. So, it's about work. The bartender pushes a pair of glasses our way. I don't realize how thirsty I am until the cool water touches my lips. I drain the water in a single gulp. Leander takes a deep swig of his beer and lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twisted around in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the cenobium in here? Throw him out. This is bloodhound territory. Okay. The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning cenobium. When I glance at Leander, he's drinking. Chug, dude. As though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower the glass. For the love of... He drags a hand down his face. Keep it down, will you? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhounds silently return to their drinks. Only a handful continue to watch me warily. Sorry about them. The Cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mix in enough drinks and, well, you saw. How about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, he pushes away from the bar counter. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the wet week, where layers of frayed bloodhounds posters have been plastered to the walls. Okay. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. First didn't send you here for help with the Cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I find an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyway. What do you need the Cenobium for? I don't want to tell him about my curse. The less people know about my capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold here. Curse told you the truth. Cenobium is dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky. Torture you if you're not. But the Cenobium is supposed to be a place of learning. Sanctuary. The Cenobium has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon and hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the Cenobium. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think. The things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, what now? Leander clears his throat. But as I always say, there's solutions to every problem and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Kuras pointed you to the Bloodhounds. Let us help you. Whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables, we can do it all. And free of charge? I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Why do you work free of charge? I don't like that. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Chagrin? Shake. Leander nods, slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious, and if the Cenobium's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? When my eyes widened, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out. That is, you tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for the Cenobium, but he is a mage. And a powerful one at that, if his demonstration earlier is any indication. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this might be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. Kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally, my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people, hurts them. Before I've even finished. Don't do that. Leander begins taking his glove off. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. No, you will not see it. He offers me his hand, then a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm, and and I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is, I can't bring myself to hurt him. To see his kind face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you came from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in this city, you'll see 1,000 curses and thrice as many cures. Do you really think Curus would send you here if I couldn't handle it? Yes. How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in the Cenobium, and better even. If they can help, so can I. You don't even know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. Then, with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandages from my hand. Ooh, this game is so lucky it takes the choice away from me because I would have said no. Fine, but if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first if it makes you feel better. Listen, the words themselves would have been completely normal. I would not have thought about it. The fact that you have a blushing sprite while saying it? Leander. We just started the game. With each joint, I expose, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea. We're just not gonna talk about that. Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, hold back. I hesitate at the last second, but Leander does not. His hand closes tightly around mine. The instant his fingers graze mine, his expression goes blank. Well, that's a new one. Leander. I try to pull away, but he won't let go. My stomach sinks, fear clutching me even harder than Leander's grip as he takes a slow, deliberate step closer. Back. Up. His free hand rises, outstretched fingers angling towards my neck. Just snap it. Get it over with. No, you're just fine. Interesting. That is one hell of a curse. What the fuck? His hand lands gently on my shoulder to steady me. I didn't even realize I was shaking. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. What the fuck, dude? Oh, don't stop. I don't know why this is happening. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. I have my hand back. Neither of us speaks as I trace... What? As I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in an awareness I wasn't prepared for. What? What? I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them, and more. But not like this. My fingers, long deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart through his hands. For as long as I've lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. Let him go. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. Great, that's gonna be a problem later. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? Bro. I'm Kit. You were right to hide this from me, Kit. Are you gonna make me regret it? That curse of yours, it's unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you'd best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I paused. Room and board wasn't something I hadn't yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled, then. The Wet Wick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or, in a few cases, fallen asleep beside the drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strange. Interesting. I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend, Kit. Sure, stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key. If you're having so many that the bartender thinks you want a key specifically for that, why do you blush so easily, dude? But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small, but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Eridia, let alone free meals. I planned to steal whatever I needed to get by, no matter how dangerous. Thank you. Go explore, Kit. You'll find many roads in Eridia, each leading to a different answer. If you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. Interesting. So I don't know how long this demo is, but we are nearing around an hour. So I feel like, that was a good place to end for tonight. But there is definitely more to explore in Eridia. More people to meet, I assume. I don't know the exact number, but I want to say we're like 2 of 6, I think. Or 5. So we definitely have a lot more, but I want to keep these episodes around an hour long, just for ease of watching. So we will continue this tomorrow for a little bit more. I'm definitely very interested, intrigued by this game. It's so far really, really well done with all the extra stuff, the music, the sound effects, stuff like that. A lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Like, I was interested in trying it out, but I'm kind of into it, We'll see more of this, definitely. But thank you for watching this episode of Touchstarved. And I will see you tomorrow for the rest of what's going to happen.